William Steele with Donald Trump's attorney and one of his best friends, Peter Ticktin, and the Ticktin Law Group in Deerfield Beach, Florida.
You got to watch Bill Steele,
There you go.
right?
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. True crime
Thank you. William Steele, True Crime on YouTube.
on YouTube.
He'll get it right. I gotta give him a script over here.
I need a teleprompter for 5 words.
There you go.
All right, man.
That sounds like somebody who ran for president always needed one. Who was that? He couldn't operate without a
I don't
teleprompter.
know. I don't know. He's a lot older than I am.
Right. All right, Peter. Welcome to William Steele, Steele the Spotlight Television, and Steele Media. We have a very special guest back with us today. We have none other than Donald Trump's attorney and friend, Peter Ticktin from the Ticktin Law Firm, Law Group in Deerfield Beach, Florida. He's the attorney you want between you and your problems. So we are also going to be collaborating with another prominent attorney in that area as well. We'll just give him a quick shout out, Steve. Excuse me, that's Steve. Oh my God, Chris. And Chris is a wonderful guy. We have a huge victory we're coming off of. 4 years of misery with the Biden-Harris administration is behind us. And now Peter has graced us with his presence and as being a guest here on my show several times, including the day before the election. And so he's had a few weeks now to breathe, and we're bringing him back on. So we're going to get some insight from Peter Ticktin, Donald Trump's attorney, lifelong friend since they're 15 years old, author of an incredible book about Donald Trump, What Makes Trump Tick. Check out the book, guys. Purchase the book. It's on Amazon. Links in the description. Peter.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Thank you for coming back. We love having you.
Pleasure.
Tell us what it feels like. I mean, we're a few weeks in. You've had a chance to catch your breath. What does it feel like?
Well, now it's gone from one fight to the next, okay? Because we were fighting for our lives to get Donald Trump elected, okay? And now he's elected, thank God.
That's right. That's right.
Because if he weren't, I mean, if I got to tell you, the things that we're going to be able to show that were happening over the last 4 years are just so unbelievable. You know how Donald Trump says that he says that they're coming after you, he says to all of us.
That's right.
And he's just standing in their way, right? Well, of all of the different things that he says, I don't think there's anything that could be more profound and more true. And, you know, I'm representing different people now who have been prosecuted, some of which have been convicted, some of which have pled guilty, some where the charges after 4 years of ruining their lives ended up getting put aside, dropped. The number of people that these bad things have happened to is to use Donald's word and mine too. I'm from the same place he's from. It's huge. Okay. And we're going to see how these people were running their state like a totalitarian state, misusing the system. And I mean, just think about it. I mean, what they did to Donald Trump, okay, they were also still doing it to others. It's not as though they only did it to Donald Trump. I'm not even mentioning the January 6th people that have been arrested and that have been put in jail. And so many of them are still incarcerated. In fact, they're charging more people as we go forward with January 6th, which is, you know, they truly weaponize the Justice Department. And it's funny because they think that Donald Trump's going to do the same thing back to them. But that's not the way he is. You know, that's they think he is what they are. And that's why they project and accuse Donald Trump and the Republicans of doing the things that they do because they think that they are like everyone else. You know, like they think everybody else is like they are, I should say.
It seems so disgusting. They've weaponized the justice system. All these J6 people, I pray, and I'm sure you have some insight on this and probably maybe can't say it, but I hope that when he gets in office, he pardons every single one of them and lets them go immediately.
Well, he's not going to do that because some of them engaged in some violence. And he needs to be able to ferret out who's who. But I think he's going to be putting a group together. That's what he did last time. He had his own ad hoc committee, so to speak, of responsible people that were looking at these requests for pardons, and then they would come up to him. I mean, he doesn't have the time to analyze
Of
what's
course not.
going on in each case, but and so he's going to review them, and I've gotten a number of applications I'm already doing for some people because they need it. They were wrongfully convicted or they're wrongfully being charged one way or the other. These things are going on, but what can I tell you? We had a very crooked government, a government so crooked that they were making themselves wealthy,
Right.
and all powerful. They were doing things that no longer needed anything in terms of due process. I mean, if somebody's a MAGA person, it's so easy to let the banks know that this is a bad person to have as a customer. So the number of people that were being debanked and the number of people that were involved in crypto, for instance, that were charged with criminal offenses, just wrongfully, just to control them and to make sure that they weren't moving forward with crypto, because they have a preference for the two main ones that are there, which are Bitcoin, of course, and Ethereum.
Right.
And they basically had the SEC lying and saying that Ethereum was not a security because it was decentralized.
Right.
When in fact it isn't decentralized at all. Bitcoin is decentralized, but Ethereum is not. And yet they're being treated the same way because certain people in the SEC got wealthy over this. They got very rich.
Peter, I have a question for you. Now, you said he's not. I'm using my own words, but in a sense, you said he's not going to be vindictive and go after these people that, falsely tried to impeach him, imprison him, lie about him constantly, get all these.
Yeah, so that's really good that you bring this up.
I think that justice needs to find this course. And in my opinion, and again, if you can address this, because we do have a short show with you today. The thing with Kamala Harris, and she's border czar, then she says she's not border czar. Her and that guy Mayorkas let millions of illegal people, and many of them have killed and brought drugs into this country. The unvetted, completely unvetted. We love migration and immigration in this country. We love legal immigration. We're a country built on that, helping the underdog. We get it. But the way they went about it, and millions flooding in, millions upon millions, I would think there has to be some kind of statute they can be charged with criminally for shirking their responsibility, racketeering, for allowing these people in to maybe disrupt elections or whatever, to unleash a crime wave or whatever their intentions were. Can't there be some racketeering criminal charges brought against Kamala Harris and Biden and his cronies?
That's a perfect question to ask, because there are many, many people that are asking exactly that same question.
Yes.
But that's exactly the trap that we would have. Okay. In other words, if we were to do what they did, okay, if we were to do what the Democrats did, I don't even want to call them Democrats because they're not. Let's just call them the left, the far left, the globalists. If we were to do what the globalists did and do, then we're not going to be offering any good alternative of government. We're going to be offering the same crap, the same horror that they did. And here's the difference, because you're saying, can't we find the crime for the person? In other words, can't we find something, go after Kamala Harris and look at her and everything she did and find the crime that she committed? That's exactly what they were trying to do to Donald Trump.
Exactly. But in this case, it's so obvious. It has to be some kind of racketeering.
If you're saying there must be some kind of crime, then it's not that obvious.
But it's criminal of what they've done. Well, I'm not an attorney, so I'm couching it that way.
So you want to make us as bad as they are?
No, absolutely not.
I think that the Justice Department should go after criminal activity where they find it. Now, I don't think that they're going to go after Biden, because that's just more of the same, and he's too old to even stand trial. But has he committed crimes? He's committed terrible crimes.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, we know about it. I'm talking about the fact that he sold out his country and he's taken money from China We know about the money that it's in Patrick Byrne's book, the $8 billion that got freed up of Iran's money on the condition that $100 million goes into a special account.
Right.
That's for him.
Right.
Okay, so we know that he's sold out America for his own personal gain. We know what kind of a person he is, and we know that he's a criminal. But I don't know what's going to happen with him. I doubt that we want to make a shining example of Donald Trump doing the same kind of garbage that the Biden Justice Department did to Donald Trump. But at the same time, the other criminals, and that would go for Kamala Harris as well.
Absolutely. That's who I started off saying it about, her and the guy Mayorkas.
And Mayorkas also, it is the mismanagement of his portfolio, is the misfeasance that he committed, or even the malfeasance, depending on, malfeasance is intentional wrongdoing, where misfeasance is kind of like negligence. Mm-hmm. But here's a guy who actually seems to believe that it's better for the country to let the borders be open. How do you deal with something like that? But there's so many criminals. There's so many people that were involved in that open border that were making wrongful money out of it. I mean, if we saw that Mayorkas was actually getting money under the table from some of the cartels, well, then let him rot in jail, because then he's selling out America for his own personal gain. But if he's just a stupid man, do we want to take all the stupid people that are in government and now pay for their food, room and board by putting them behind bars for the next 10 years? It's the criminals we want. And criminal activity requires a felonious intent. And that felonious intent means that you're actually intending to do something criminal. And, so you got this incompetent fool, this Mayorkas. If you think that this is an intelligent man, no. You got to think twice. They took these fools and they put them in positions of power, and they mishandled everything because they're idiots. Yeah. I mean, you take the top of our military, taking the military out first out of Afghanistan. Although it wouldn't surprise me at all if there was money in exchange for giving the Buran air base to the Chinese, because that is just too obvious of a stupid mistake.
I know they say that even the Chinese are buying up a lot of land in the United States, around farmland, around military bases and all that. Now, we were at your office just a few weeks ago interviewing you. There I am with my arm around you, and we put Trump in the picture. He was not with us. I wish he was. And so we did a phenomenal interview with you there. And again, because we're more pressed for time here than we've ever been, and we want to get into a few things. Where is this country heading now? And specifically, we'd love to know. I know he's announcing a lot of things that he's doing, people that he's appointing in the administration and different roles they're going to have, Elon Musk and this one and that one. Are you allowed to tell us, is there anything going to be coming up for you? Or are you just going to maintain the role you've always had as his friend, confidant, and an attorney? Because you've known him since he's 15 years old. I mean, you wrote the book on Donald Trump. You're probably one of the longest people in his inner circle in existence. I mean, who else goes back that far? But his family, I guess.
No. His family, they were born 46 years ago. I go back 63. I mean, I think Donald Jr. is 46.
Right. So you probably, I think you were around long enough to know, what was the lawyer's name? Khan? What the heck was his first name? His first tenacious attorney that he had back years ago.
Oh, I don't know. In those years, I didn't know him. I mean, I knew him. And I was able to go to him and get a letter of reference when I needed one, but I didn't visit with him and spend time with him.
So what are you doing? Are you gonna? Has he got something? You've been talking to him about? Are you allowed to give us a little secret info over here?
Look, he's a busy guy. He doesn't have time for Peter Ticktin. I give him certain information and things that I learn of or figure out. I have, when I started researching and marshaling the evidence for January 6th for him, I basically ended up getting to know all these different cells of people. Okay, so there's this one group that are looking at videos of the Babbitt murder.
Right.
There's another cell that's dealing with the people getting charged. There's another cell dealing with what the DNC were doing in terms of Seth Rich. Another group of people. In other words, there's all kinds of different people involved in all kinds of different things.
Mary's got a quick question off screen here. Sean Duffy.
First reality TV star has been appointed as the Secretary of Transportation.
Secretary of Transportation, first reality TV star in history. Sean Duffy. You know him?
No, I don't know.
She's asking about him. I guess he's a California guy. So she used to watch.
He's from Wisconsin.
But I think the show was based in California, wasn't it? San Francisco?
Yes, Railroad San Francisco. And his wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, who is a commentator on Fox, you know, she's
Yeah, but I don't know them, and I mean that's a funny thing about this, because I know Donald Trump, but I don't know all the people around him. So
right. You're very humble, Peter, because we happen to know you're in the documentary with him.
I am that, yes, yeah. But when here I was working directly under Donald Trump in regard to January 6th, and nobody else knew about me,
right?
Except for Alina Habba, and so all of a sudden, when I got into the Gateway Pundit and asked for people's videos and so on, which went kind of like, what's the word? It went crazy.
Right.
It went viral.
You gathering all the evidence for the January 6th incident.
Well, I was, yeah. But all of a sudden, when that went out, then everybody got in a panic. Who is Peter Ticktin?
Right.
And they didn't know I existed, most of them. And all of a sudden, because you talk about an inner circle. I don't know whether I'm in an inner circle or not. I don't know what an inner circle really is. There's a lot of people that have associations with Donald Trump directly, but it's not as though we all hold hands and go ring around the rosy, or use Donald as a maypole and go around in circles around.
Except for Peter wrote the book "What Makes Trump Tick," about his time at New York Military Academy when they were 15 years old. So they go back 60-something years.
63 years. Yeah.
I challenge anybody else to come on my show and say that. So he's just a very humble gentleman here on the screen with us.
Well, I'll tell you, it really, the one question that I love is when people ask me, where were you when John Kennedy was shot? Because when we heard the news of John Kennedy being shot, I was in American history class, of all places to be. I was in American history class.
With Trump?
With Donald Trump. Yeah. There were only 12 guys in our class.
You can't make this stuff up.
I mean, there were 100 cadets. There were 100 guys in the senior class. But our classes where we went to class, had no more than 12 students per class. They ranged between 5 and 12, depending on what the subject was. And so it wasn't just being taught, like having a teacher in front of the room saying something, writing on the board. It was half being taught, half almost being tutored, because we had wonderful, wonderful teachers.
Right.
I still think about them and things that I still remember, things that they said and things that they taught us back then. They were just incredibly wonderful. And that's why Donald Trump has such a good mind, because first of all, you had to take an IQ test. That was our entrance exam, was an IQ test.
Right.
And they were taking, at that point, the school is very popular, so they were only taking 1 out of 7 on the basis of kids' IQs. And that's why almost every student got into the school of their first choice in New York Military Academy. That's part of the reason I went there.
I've had fans of mine contact me. Everybody knows, those of you who may not know, so I starred in a reality TV show called Inmate to Roommate on A&E and Hulu. And
of course I knew that. Yeah.
We're going to be doing a few more shows. I was offered another reality show. And additionally, I'm in a movie called Silent Partners. And then we're filming a prison comedy. And then we're filming a feature film and drama series about my life, amongst other things. So things are going along. We had this experience where we were relocating to Florida, and things were a bit of a struggle recently, and we're let down And so we're going to be doing a series of exposés on, the abuse and exploitation that some billionaires commit. We're not just talking about Diddy and Epstein and this one and that one, but there's many others that are unnamed. And so we're going to be doing a deep dive into some of these things.
I know, this is one of the things that I talk about is the fact that Donald Trump. Okay, so you had this guy McCabe. He in his text to his lover, he was saying that they have an insurance policy.
That's right.
And nobody seems to know what that insurance policy is, but I can tell you exactly what the insurance policy was. They knew that they were going to be able to get a special prosecutor appointed. Okay, that was kind of like in the cards. They had that figured out.
The Jack Smith guy? Is that the guy?
No. It's Mueller. It turned out to be Mueller.
Oh, Mueller. Okay, before him. Gotcha.
Another dirty guy, by the way, because Mueller and Comey, they worked. Okay, so Comey's the head of the FBI, and then he resigns and he goes into work for Boeing. Okay, basically he's a sales guy for Boeing.
Right.
He sells the FBI something like $6 billion worth of equipment.
Oh, great!
And he gets a $6 million of commissions for the sale. And then he comes back to the FBI, selling it to Mueller. Okay, I mean, these guys, the number of people in places where you need good, decent, honest people. I mean, Hoover was a blackmailer and a transvestite, but at least he enforced the law. Well, for the most part. But really, there's a place where you really need honesty in government. It's got to be, with your federal police agencies. And unfortunately, that's not.
I didn't know that he went to Boeing and made a $6 million commission, and then went back to government.
These guys are scumbags.
I thought these guys were supposed to be like a year free of government service before they could lobby or this or that.
When you're dirty, you think that everybody thinks like you. I probably told you before that it's this one thing I love of George Bernard Shaw. He said that the punishment of a liar is not in the least that he cannot be believed, but rather that he cannot believe others. That's right. Am I right about that? I mean, basically that's the way they think. Okay. If you're a liar, you're not believing anybody because you think everybody is a liar.
Right.
Okay. If you're a thief, you think everybody's a thief. And if you're, so that's what these people are. They're criminals. And they figured that Donald Trump, he couldn't have gotten rich, honestly. He has to have been doing dirty things. Don't worry about it. We're going to get a special prosecutor. They'll be able to dig in and find all of his crimes. And that's our insurance policy. So that was McCabe's insurance policy that he talked about. Okay. Or is it Strzok? But anyway, it was, that was the insurance policy they were talking about.
We can't help but notice, but virtually all of his charges is suddenly being dropped, except
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Mueller. Mueller spent with people like Weissman in there, the people that hate Donald Trump. They spent $30 million, over $30 million, to find anything they could. They weren't looking for Russian collusion because they knew there was no Russian collusion. All right, they weren't stupid enough. They're so stupid they're going to believe their own lies. They knew there was no Russian collusion. What they were looking for him was anything they could find. His embezzling some money, his paying off a bribe, anything that they could find. They looked everywhere for anything. And I got to tell you, none of them could have withstood the test that they gave Donald Trump in terms of his honesty. And Donald Trump came through with flying colors. They found nothing. This is an honest man. And so now, let's pin this thing in New York on him, where we can say he intended something in the books. He paid Stormy Daniels and didn't want to pay tax on the money, so he took his deduction. Who knows what the heck they came up with? All this craziness, which was all their lies.
Right.
Okay, so you got an honest man standing in the face of all of this. And I'll tell you something. Usually things stem from the top. They come down from the top. So, if you have a company, I see this with law firms all the time. You take a law firm like we have one down here, Scott Colin Cassane. Almost every lawyer I meet in that law firm is decent and honest as the day is long, because it all stems from the leadership of the firm. And that's what they all want. And I've never had one lie to me about anything.
What's the name of the firm? Give them another shout out. They're
No,
are they in Boca or Deerfield or where are they?
Oh, they're all over. Okay, they're big in Florida.
Okay,
Okay.
it's good to know.
Then I get one from, I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to,
Right.
because this is all they want. But I'm dealing with one from one of the large firms, and the guy lies. He lies to the court. He lies to everybody, and everybody gets away with. And the thing is, that's okay in his firm. All right, that's okay. I won. It doesn't matter if I told the truth. It doesn't matter if I was ethical. What matters is I won. And so that particular firm will do everything they can to do that. That's also why, you may notice that clients and their lawyers tend to resemble each other like dogs and their masters.
Right.
Okay. And why is that? Well, if you're an honest guy and you have a lawyer that's telling you got to lie on the stand, this is what I need you to say. I know it's not true, but you better say it.
Suborn perjury.
You're going to get another lawyer. You're going to get a lawyer that matches your mentality. I had a client one time wanted to lie. He committed burglary, and wanted to lie. I told him no way I could participate with that. He fired me, and he found a lawyer that let him that went along with him lying.
Have you ever heard of an attorney down there by the name of William Coleman?
I might have heard the name.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
Just curious. That's a conversation for another time. Quite the character.
Well, a lot of lawyers are characters. I will tell you that most lawyers, from my experience, most lawyers tend to be honest.
Mhm.
If you let's just say you had a whole bunch of car salesmen, okay, versus a whole bunch of lawyers, and maybe they're doing the same thing. They're all selling. I mean, I'm not selling cars, but I'm selling my client's case to a jury. But there's a difference because, when you're to be a lawyer, you got to go through college and you got to go through law school, and then you have to work for a firm in order to get the experiences, and you have to learn basically how you do the ropes of it, and we have ethics that we're taught in law school. We've got ethics that we have to do refreshers on in our continuing legal education every year. And ethics are part of what we do, and it comes down on us. Okay, plus we're regulated. So if we do things that are unethical or dishonest, even if we don't do it in practicing law, you cheat on your income taxes. For a lawyer, you get disbarred. For a doctor, if he cheats on his taxes, he doesn't lose his license to practice medicine. But for lawyers, we have a different kind of standard for everything. Everything we do in life is regulated. And so there's many reasons why, but we tend to be more honest.
You guys are technically and literally officers of the court. So there you go.
Right. But if I didn't have the training that I had, and I didn't have the mentality I have and the higher level of education, I don't know that I would necessarily not be more like somebody else. And by the way, I shouldn't say that about car salesmen, because there are car salesmen that I know that are as decent and as honest as a person can be. So I'm not trying to put that down. I just say that if you took any batch of people, whether it's plumbers or car salesmen or electricians, whatever it is, you're going to see a higher level of honesty and higher ethics among lawyers than you do, and accountants even more, and engineers even more. The most honest people that I've ever deposed and cross-examined over the 52 years I've been doing this are the engineers. Okay, so you go someplace like the South Florida water management people.
Right.
Those are engineers. Those guys, you can cross-examine them all day long. They're going to be consistent. They're going to be correct in what they do. Well, you know what they say about engineers. They say, to an optimist, the glass is half full. To a pessimist, the glass is half empty. And to an engineer, the glass is, you've got twice as much glass as you need. So,
So Peter wrote the book about Donald Trump. What makes Trump take it out in the description. Peter, we're going to have to wrap this show up because you said you only had a minimal amount of time. We're trying to respect your time, and hopefully you come on again next week. And I would like to know this. What's the most important thing? And give me something optimistic for today's show that's going to happen. Because I have fans telling me and posting, Jesus Christ, the recognized birthday was December 25th, Christmas, right? My Lord and Savior. And I have people saying that they're more looking forward to January 20th than they are December 25th at this
Oh,
point.
aren't we all? I mean, seriously, Christmas. God, we were saved. Donald Trump avoided a bullet, and the rest of us avoided a different bullet. I'm telling you, if she would have won, in less than a year's time, there would have been a lot of people that would be hungry and on the streets that are now, not anywhere near that. We were going to go down. It was going to be the next 4 years. Look, their agenda is for 2030. That the next 4 years, it would have been almost all accomplished, what they need to do.
What's amazing is their agenda, the woke and this and that, went so off the rails that everybody, it seems like, and I'm not going to name names because, we don't need lawsuits here. It seems like everybody supporting them in the end, the big celebrities, were somehow connected to Diddy and all these other people and have their own scandals about to blow up on them. They're starting to be exposed for what they are. And it's just been a big turnaround. And I think this is huge. He got the popular vote. He took everything. I mean, the whole country was so disgusted with 4 years of misery.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me tell you. I just filed a lawsuit on Wednesday.
There you go.
For for Robert Rockford, Rochford. They call him Rocky. He lost his election by about 50,000. Yeah, by about 50,000 votes. And what's really amazing is we look at the numbers. Okay, and every day there's a certain number of people that are requesting to have the ballots, the mail-in ballots sent to them. Okay, you don't have to go there and pick up a ballot and then mail it. I mean, what would be the sense if you go pick it up?
You might as well vote.
You might as well go there on election day and vote.
Right.
So so people can request that you can either call and send them copies of your driver's license or your social security card covering up everything but the last 4 digits, or you can do it by phone, you can do it by mail, or you can do it online. So most of them are online. And so in his election, his district number 14 is about half of Pinellas County and half of Hillsborough County.
Right.
And in Pinellas County, that's what I'm talking about in terms of the numbers. So they had an average of 408 requests a day in the 4 months preceding the election. And so, they could get some waves, they get a wave where they get 2,000 in a day. And then they had one day with a rogue wave where they got 6,000 in a day. Okay. But on September 9th, on that one day, and I'm talking about an average of 408, not 408,000, not 1,000, not 900, 400 basically a day. But on September 9th, there were 198,166 requests, almost 200,000 in one day. Now, that's not an outlier. That's a statistical impossibility.
I smell a rat.
And of that, believe me, there's a rat. Because of those, 37,000 you have to have one or the other. You either have to have a driver's license number, or if you don't have a driver's license, in Florida, there's a voter identification. I mean, a personal identification number you can have. Or they had to have the last 4 digits of the social security number that then they check and make sure it's the same as what's on the voter registration form.
Right.
So, this is what's required. 37,000 of that 198,000 didn't have either. They didn't have any of those. Okay. So those, according to the computer program, could not be processed, yet they were processed, which means that the fraud detection system that they have in these computers, which they do have, were either being overridden or just turned off.
Wow.
And so we know that, and what happened here is what was happening everywhere. Now in Hillsborough, they didn't have a day with such a huge amount that it was mind-blowingly impossible. but they had them scattered. And so there were a lot of them that got processed the same way without that information, meaning that the safety program to detect fraud or potential fraud was off. And so this is, and we see this throughout in terms of the kinds of results throughout Florida. Like Senator Scott got elected, but not if you went on only the mail-ins. He lost miserably on the mail-ins. And same with Senator Rubio, etc., and Donald Trump himself.
Let me ask you a question.
They won because it was too big to rig for them.
If you prevail on that case with Rocky, what happens? Is he?
Well, we're asking for a new election for him.
Okay.
There's no other way to do it. It has to be a new election, and everything, and the voters are going to need to show their IDs, because this is craziness. This is where the cheat is really in, and it's been established and developed all over the country this way.
Right. So Peter's in the midst of all of this, and he's litigating. And again, this is the opinion and facts from my guest, who is an attorney. He is Donald Trump's attorney. He is the attorney for the individuals he's talking about, including our friend Samantha Markle, Meghan Markle's sister. This guy represents everybody. He's also represented a mutual acquaintance for a presidential pardon and got that pulled off. So Peter is the man you need to see for these big time deals and to hold people accountable and get the justice that you deserve. Something I want to ask you. Finish that story out while I try to recall what this question is going to be. Okay. About Rocky.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is what that shows is how they did it. They did it the same thing in 2020, and they did the same thing in 2022. And this is how they've been doing it. And this is why we only have a slim majority in the House. Because imagine if all of our candidates throughout the country would have actually had an honest vote, and they weren't stealing the vote. I mean, we lost a lot of seats because of this. Okay, those are the ones that didn't have it too big to rig. But Senator Scott, Marco Rubio, President Trump, for them it was too big to rig, and that's why they won above the cheating. That was Donald Trump's expression that he brought out. Too big to rig. That's why he had to make it. That's what the voters did. They made it that. And if you think for a second, it wasn't an overwhelming majority all the way around. You don't know what the cheat was. You don't know. It was huge. They had to have had tens of millions of votes throughout the country that were false.
I want to get a hold of the complaint you filed and read through that and do another show about that specifically. And here's why. It seems like these could be turned into some kind of criminal racketeering prosecution as well. The question I have now, Sandy Modell, his son Ryan Modell, was murdered. Amira Fox, Lee County prosecutor, allegedly, she was in trouble for dealings with the NRA. They didn't prosecute him. Stand your ground. We ran the case by you. I had Sandy speak to you before. Pam Bondi has been the one declining to prosecute this murderer who now lives in Palm Beach County, who got away with killing Ryan Modell. And we know this was not a stand your ground case. All the experts in the United States and in Florida, attorneys that specialize in stand your ground, all said it was not stand your ground. They didn't prosecute him because he claimed that. He got a lawyer. He lawyered up. And even though he left his locked up condo, pursued the guy, when the police told him to stay in the house, he gunned down and killed Ryan Modell. Once you pursue or re-engage, you lose stand your ground and self-defense and all that stuff. So I'm not an attorney, but so Pam Bondi is the one obstructing the prosecution of a murderer. And I don't know where you stand with her, but I am not a fan of hers. As you know, I'm a Republican. I'm not really a fan of DeSantis for various reasons, because of the COVID, and he was letting nonviolent offenders die in prison where other states were releasing them, having compassionate release for nonviolent offenders, and he wasn't. And I got stuck in that mess, as you remember, because you were my attorney then. So Pam Bondi, I don't think should be attorney general. And respectfully, I don't think she should be dog catcher. And so we are going to be doing a series of shows. And if I don't know where you stand on Pam Bondi, but we're going to do everything we can to prevent her from being attorney general legally.
I think you got it wrong. First of all, she hasn't been in office for at least 4 years, maybe 6. I'm not sure how long, but she's been out of office. So she hasn't done anything in regard to this for a long time.
Right.
Secondly, she has been an advocate. She has not been afraid to go after criminals. She has. She's even gone after people when remember, I'm the guy that also unearthed all the robo-signers that the banks had people signing false affidavits.
Right.
I mean, by the thousands, just somebody signing 1,000 a day. I mean, these are for courts all around the country, and they were doing that. And I gave my evidence to the 50 different attorney generals in the United States, and they were able to get a $30 billion recovery from the 5 biggest banks. So, but anyway, Pam Bondi went after all the people she needed to go after, in regard to a lot of that. So
in this case, the murder of Ryan Modell.
Yeah, but there's things that happen that you're not aware of. Okay, you don't know exactly how the defense came out. You don't know what they're saying. You don't know what the evidence.
I do. Sandy, the father, is a professor, and he wrote a very comprehensive book with evidence. It's called Murder and Corruption in Florida. It's got DeSantis on the cover. Pam Bondi and DeSantis repeatedly obstruct the prosecution of a murderer of Ryan Modell. And so this guy is still free. He's still doing all the things he's not supposed to be doing. And we're not going to get into that here. But Sandy just put out another book, and he also put up billboards in the Caucasus areas where DeSantis was trying to become president, and put up gigantic billboards at great expense, letting the public know that DeSantis and Pam Bondi were obstructing the prosecution of the murder of his son. And so he's going to go very public with this again now. I support Sandy. I'll send you a copy of the book if you want to brush up on it.
Well, but no, all I know is that Pam Bondi, her office always worked well with me. I did have a lot of dealings with her. And I just never, she's certainly not one of those Soros types of prosecutors. And I don't know the facts. I mean, you got a father who's very, very upset. He lost his daughter, God help. Son Ryan. He lost his son. Okay, so I mean, I don't know the facts of the case. It's hard for me to comment on.
Quick
But I remember talking to you about this years ago.
Yep.
And I remember explaining to you that there were things, and I don't remember what they were now, but there were things that were a little iffy, and that it's a prosecutor's discretion as to whether to go after him.
Exactly.
And she was attorney general, but she wasn't that doesn't fall on her.
Amira Fox was already in trouble for deference and taking some kind of payment from the NRA. She's the prosecutor in Lee County. Sandy, the
prosecutor in Lee County is elected as a state attorney for Lee County.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't come under the attorney general's office.
So it ended up FDLE was going to take a look at it. Pam Bondi shot it down. Then I personally had engaged the head of the cold case homicide squad in the whole state of Florida. Pam Bondi again shot it down.
Well, do me a favor, take a look at the duties of the attorney general of the state of Florida, and you might just find, because I'm pretty sure you will, that that's not her decision.
All they wanted to do was move the case to another county away from Amira Fox. And
That's not her. That's the state attorney of the county who was elected for that county.
One of the
attorney general of the state of Florida doesn't she opines as to different laws, as to how certain laws should be interpreted.
One of the prosecutors underneath Amira Fox was in trouble for various things, and he put out a report saying it happened because it was under the curtilage of the condo. Well, it wasn't. The door was locked. The police told him, stay in your house. We're sending the police to see who that was knocking on your door. He couldn't wait for the police. He went out with a Glock 40, found the guy buildings away, sitting in the grass. The guy stood up and he shot him in the chest and killed him. That's premeditated murder all day long.
I understand that's your opinion, and you're welcome to it. But what I'm saying is you're going after the wrong person. The state attorney is the one that made that decision. The state attorney for that county is the one that made that decision. That's not a decision made by the attorney general of the state of Florida. Her duties are completely different.
Once they found out that the prosecutor made a mistake in saying it was under the curtilage of this unit, the request, I believe, was to move the case to another county.
That has nothing to do with Pam Bondi. That has to do with that's that state attorney that would also then prosecute it in the other venue. That's the person who's seized with that case.
Yep.
not Pam Bondi.
I
She's
think
in
that
the
would
office.
look. I think he was looking for also for a grand jury, maybe movie
That
case.
has nothing to do with Pam Bondi either. That's the state attorney of the county.
But FDLE was told to stand down, from what I understand. Anyway, the book is very, very extensive and detailed. It's the experts, Mark O'Mara and another attorney in Florida.
I would say just be fair to everybody, including the people you accuse,
Absolutely.
and look
Absolutely.
it up and just see what her responsibilities really were. Because even if he's right that it should have been a prosecution that went forward, that's not the Attorney General of the state of Florida that makes that decision. Zimmerman was decided by the Attorney General to prosecute it or not. That was decided. Remember Zimmerman? That whole deal with
oh man, yeah.
okay. I mean, that was decided by that state attorney. I can't imagine where an attorney general, they prosecute certain things under the laws of the state of Florida. They don't. I've never seen an attorney general get involved with a murder case.
Well, I'm back in touch with Sandy, and he's, as we all are, incensed that she's going to be attorney general when she didn't do anything to help move the case. DeSantis said he would help. He never followed through. He never did.
Not the governor's choice either.
Who can move the case? Who can request a grand jury?
The state attorney is the one that does that. I don't know who that state attorney was, but whoever was the elected state attorney in that county, it falls on that person. And he has people underneath him that are prosecuting and making these decisions all day long. That's what they do.
Her name is
not for the office of the attorney general to do.
Her name is Amira Fox. The book, I'm going to try to get you a copy of the book. He gives them out for free, and he's put out another one now.
Well, just do me a favor. Take a look at what the attorney general of the state of Florida's duties are, and you'll see that they don't do this. Then take a look at what the state attorney's duties are in each county, and they are charged with this responsibility. That's what they do.
So you think she's a good choice, other than what my
well, she's a no nonsense person. You know what? We need somebody that's ready to start making the wrongs right. Okay, we need somebody who's got the cojones to be able to go after.
You just made my argument for me. Somebody needs to go after the murderer of Ryan Modell.
I've seen her go after the people that her office would go after. She doesn't lack intestinal fortitude. What you're saying she's lacking it is, in this case, she made bad decisions and refused to go forward, and you're even kind of suggesting that maybe there's something more to it, like a payoff or something.
No. There's something to do with the NRA and votes. Sandy can articulate it better, and he's a professor.
I get it, but maybe just maybe he's got the wrong targets, because for sure it's not the governor of the state. And when have you ever seen a governor get involved, except when he fired a prosecutor from Tampa, one of the Soros prosecutors, because he wasn't willing to do his duties. So he fired him. But when have you ever seen a governor get involved in a prosecution? It doesn't happen.
The head of the cold case squad in the entire state of Florida said he gets involved with his cases to deconflict political disputes and cases, and make sure that the guilty get convicted or get prosecuted, and the innocent go free, if that's where the case may be. That's his assignment. And he said, I don't know what happened in this case.
I'm not crazy about DeSantis because of your case, because when we tried to get you paroled and or some clemency,
right?
We ran into a situation where I could not get a return phone call. It was so hard to get anybody that was in any position that could talk to us. It was like they're all out on vacation. They've gone fishing.
Guys have had the clemency and commutation applications pending for 10, 15 years with no action. David Michael Reinhardt in California, same thing.
I know. And so I'm not happy with DeSantis because of you, because of what happened with you. I saw with my own eyes and ears that he was not running the government the way it needed to be run.
Right.
But at the same time, I can't blame him because somebody wasn't prosecuted that should have been prosecuted. That has nothing to do with him.
Right. Maybe one day you come as a guest, we talk about the Ryan Modell case, and you can give your opinion and have a discussion with.
I'd have to read up on it.
Yeah, with Professor Modell, and because he likes you, he knows you're my friend, and he's been wanting to talk to you again anyway. You spoke to him, I think, about a year ago about the case, a long time ago.
I don't doubt that his intentions are right and he's trying to do the right thing, but I think you got to look at who's really responsible. If somebody doesn't get prosecuted who should be prosecuted, it falls on the police and it falls on the state attorney of that county.
Right.
That's the way our system works in Florida.
I think he was asking for a grand jury to decide it, and or moving it out of
A
county.
grand jury would have been a great idea, but you can't do a grand jury without the state attorney convening the grand jury.
And for some reason, my TV volume just started coming up in the background. I hope it's not interfering with the show. Let me sign this off. We went a few minutes long. Peter, you're a real blessing. Every time you come on, we're both thrilled that your friend Donald. You know what? I saw something in your office, a personal note from him on a card behind your desk. And I won't say what it said unless you allow me to, but it was right there on display when I was in your office. You remember the card he sent you?
There's been more than one. What did it say?
Hey, dear Peter, this is not fake news. Today really is your birthday. Happy birthday, Donald. That's right behind your desk, my friend. All right, brother. We will see you around. Shout out to Tom Madden, who brought us together so many years ago. And hopefully Boca Raton is going to be a cleaned up town soon. We're going to get working on that. We have tons of things we're going to be bringing forward. So you're gonna see an interesting.
The next 4 years are going to be so productive.
Oh,
okay, your head's going to be spinning from it. There's going to be so much happening. There's so much going to change. We're going to see departments of the government just disappear.
Oh, you know what? I saw that. I don't know if it was a joke, but it looks like Elon Musk is already eliminating like the Bureau of Gravy Management or some kind of all these little sub departments and stuff. So
all this terrible waste. I mean, it's all built in, and all these people in DC that they have to lose their jobs.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what that's going to do to the economy, having more people that are looking for work. But
thank you for the autographed books. And every time we go to your office or see you in person, it's a pleasure. Everybody's thrilled to meet you. You're a wonderful human being. Check out Peter Ticktin, the attorney want between you and your problems, your legal issues, and the Ticktin Law Group, Deerfield Beach, Florida. Peter is absolutely incredible. We also are friendly with another attorney in Boca. We're going to be doing some shows with him as well. You may have heard of Chris Marswanian. Phenomenal guy. I want to introduce you to him.
What does he do? What kind of law?
He does primarily, I think, personal injury and accidents and stuff like that. But he's got a friend that steps in on some criminal matters and all that. Great guy, young man. He practiced law in California and Texas, and now he's part of a 4-man firm in Boca. So we're gonna do business with him as well. Peter, it's always good to see you, and God bless you. Let's talk about something else here in a few weeks. Shout out to Samantha Markle. We love you. Sandy Modell. Prayers for you, for justice for your son Ryan. God bless you, Peter. Thank you for coming back.
God bless you too, and your friends and